Hello again. Welcome to the program. I am Suren. How is your life? Is it working for you? Are you also changing with the world you are living in? Look around you and notice that the world is surely undergoing vast changes. Without being too critical, we all seem also to observe a worldwide crisis. It feels almost as if the civilization we know of is about to disintegrate on the rocks of physical, mental, and moral degeneracy. It looks very much like being determined by the decision-making of the world leaders. And during the years ahead, looks very dark indeed. Very negative. And we seem to be all involved in a new, great crisis with which we are faced, and there are also the new discoveries science has come up with. We have new genetic engineering. Robotics are improving. Every and each day, an artificial intelligence is taking control of the human creativity. In fact, it looks that we are on the threshold of unleashing physical forces, which man has hardly dreamt of. As you know, the atom has been split. But are we going to use this unlimited energy source for destruction as a whole human being? Will it be the means of material progress beyond anything we have imagined possible? Will we settle on Mars and the moon soon? But our scientific know-how has yet another discovery. And this one is something we can use to help fashion that means of saving humankind from self-destruction. Everywhere around the blue globe, and everyone must be made conscious of the powers within the mind of man. It is those powers which we will call hidden powers of the greatest gift, which have to be unleashed to accomplish this necessary humanitarian task. You and I, we alone are capable of taking off the covers that hide the power of this greatest gift. We all need and must develop the powers of the superconscious for ourselves and for our fellow man. We need to demonstrate it in our own lives, that there is an amazing power of superior intelligence within every human person, and that this indeed is of mammoth proportions compared with their conscious minds. We need to show the world that we have discovered a deeper intelligence permeating everything. We must prove that we are all similar to the elements of nature and the entire universe through the medium of natural laws. It has been most difficult for the average people to conceive of a body of matter, such as the human organism, as being alive, with some kind of spirit force or soul to give it life. But life is a part of the divine plan. Or you may prefer to consider it as the universal plan, if you prefer. That is, life manifests itself in an endless stream of magnetism from countless suns, which we know as stars upon this one planet we are currently dwelling on. There are many more worlds throughout the galaxy and the universe. Life sets things in motion. No power known to man can ever stop it. To continue to grow, we must gain that which is essential for our development, growth, and evolution. We must encourage the processes of organic repair, which are known as the metabolism. Positive emotional thinking must supplant the negativism that disrupts the creative functions of the human body. Thought is the only means by which humankind can achieve individual and collective growing. It is the key to human progress in their developmental path. Remember, like attracts like. What does that mean, would you say? Let me explain it my way. Simply that mental frequencies respond only to the extent of their vibratory harmony. It needs to be understood clearly that thoughts of creative abundance will respond to similar thoughts of the subjective intelligence. We have to make mental images of the things we desire. Affluence from without will be attracted only if we can imagine affluence within. Put your heart, that is your superconscious mind, in your task, in your work. You're bound by the law of attraction to become successful. Thus, heaven's given power upon a consciousness of power. And also remember that unless we are conscious of this, we cannot use it. Unless we use it, you guessed it, we will lose it. What many people today are asking, and their counselors for generations, is there really an unknown power, a force, an influence that some people understand and are able to use to achieve success? Good question. Have you thought of this power as being just perhaps luck? Obviously, as far as they are concerned, there is such a thing as luck. I will say that it is the combined power and influence of three elements of the laws of nature, working creatively in conformity with the divine or heavenly plan of evolution. There are 1. The law of suggestion, 2. The law of attraction, and 3. The law of compensation. Now, to invoke the creative power of these elements of the laws of nature, we must assume a favorable mental attitude. 1. We must inform our superconscious mind about exactly what we want. 2. We must desire it with all our hearts. 3. We all must have complete confidence that we will attain it, and that goes for all of us and for you. The reasons for this are apparent from what we have learned in the foregoing considerations. 1. The superconscious is continually amenable to control by the law of suggestion and functions best through the technique of visualization. 2. It is the emotional force that arouses the creative power of the superconscious and causes the law of attraction to put into action the vibrational current necessary as it means to the desired end. As one writer puts it, the flame of desire supplies the heat for the steam of creative action. 3. Confidence or faith is the mental factor that governs law of compensation. We can help make this day the beginning of new era. We can accomplish this by changing our method of thinking from an unconscious, haphazard process that forgets or even ignores individual responsibility to a systematic technique that puts you in conscious control of our inner creative forces. Until all of us become consciously creative, distribution of material things can contribute little or nothing toward the solution of individual world problems. Grandiose schemes for sharing the wealth can only lead to chaos. Inequality or wealth is not due to unequal distribution of possessions. It is due rather to unequal degrees of success in complying with the creative laws. The creative source is within you and me, and it is not bound by circumstances beyond our control. You must remember this always. The creative source is within all of us. Think creatively. Train your mind to it. Form new habits of thinking. Shake off the negative influences of your past life or previous heritage. Train your mind. Remember that thoughts are not actually just things. They do not actually create things on their own. But thoughts do attract things and influence events. Remember the law of suggestion and the law of attraction. Remember the hidden power we all possess. It is this hidden power, the greatest gift, which can be made to work for us, creating the wonders of heaven. Remember that Jesus said, "He that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do." Good point. Man has, unfortunately, in the past been inclined to explain the powers of this greatest gift in terms of soul power. If, however, this great power was an attribute of the soul, it should only work for the good of mankind. We have seen that this power can and does work for evil equally as well as for good. So, constructive emotion is the staff of which spirituality is made. For human emotion is the means by which the hidden power of the superconscious is released. And destructive emotion is a force which weakens the human spirit. Your feeling mind, the thalamus, generates the electrical vibrations that constitute the life force of the human organism. This energy is set in motion by the impulse we call emotion. Spiritual force, then, is a higher rate of thalamic vibration than is necessary for normal functioning of the human organism. Now, the power that highly accelerated vibrational force has untold and tremendous. It is this power which we all possess. It is this power which you can unleash for your own gain, for your own happiness, for your own health, for your own longevity. We all possess this kind of power to communicate mentally. We possess power to see mentally. You, too, possess power to heal mentally. All these powers can be activated by our own efforts, by our emotions. It is our emotions which dictate the quality of the feeling mind. You, my friend, produce your own results in life according to the quality of your personal thoughts. You possess a magic in your mind, but only through your individual cooperation with the divine plan for the evolution of immortal man can you use this magic to attain health, wealth, happiness, and longevity. Only when you are ready to believe absolutely that there is magic in your mind, only when you are ready and anxious to make it work, can you achieve all that this magic is capable of bringing to you and to all of us. Study the nature of man once again. Study how the brain works. Learn all about the magic that has the qualities of hypnotism, extrasensory perception, or ESP, and the collective unconscious. Remember that all the things man has, in the past called supernatural, are natural. It is the nature of man's mind. These things are truly extra-normal. They are part of the powers that belong to anyone who attains conscious control of his superconscious forces. Prayer is powerful. You know that. And mind can heal. We need to absorb these facts and act on them. You and you alone, we all must assume responsibility for our own spiritual development. And this must be done by elevating your own consciousness through positive thinking. We must also teach our children, our families, that they have within their minds these creative forces that will make them truly the children of heaven, or heirs of heaven. Remember, we are all from the stars. Now to the skeptical. We can only point out the number of distinguished persons of this present hectic day, which are reaching some of these same conclusions. We have shown that mental health cannot be considered apart, removed from physical health. Such distinguished doctors as, say, Dr. Morris Fishbein, formerly of the American Medical Association, and ministers such as Dr. Norman Vincent Peale of the Marble Collegiate Church in New York, were speaking their minds on these matters. The American Academy of General Practice, an association of family doctors, was carrying on an educational plan for its members so that the doctors may better be able to consider emotional and mental problems when they treated their patients for stomach aches or heart palpitations. Remember? Maybe not. Doesn't matter. Medical authorities all over telling the world that emotional problems are universal and there is nothing shameful about them. Fear, anger, and guilt have been named by these doctors as the greatest enemies of our general well-being. And that stands for us all right now also. In another area, practical and highly successful business executives were practicing creative thinking. And recently, the press quoted a corporation head as stating that religion was, and probably is, a practical thing, and that there is guidance above man's own intelligence and experience, which can unfailingly be found by prayer or by faith, or at least trust. There are, in fact, daily illustrations of achievement against so-called insurmountable obstacles. Prominent people have recognized the seriousness of the problems we face today. The current trend to mental, physical, and moral degeneracy is being seen as a miscarriage of the natural laws that govern the human nature. The thinking world is beginning to realize that all the dangers that you and me can be met with the greatest weapon we all possess, our thoughts and our emotions. But we need to learn to use them. Concerning the power of emotions, Dr. Grantley Dick Reed exponent of natural childbirth, that we spoke about a while ago, wrote, "The mother who is afraid is her chemically different in many ways from the mother who knows no fear." Now, Dr. Reed said that the mother who has fears therefore gives a direct legacy of psychological inhibitions to her child, yet stressing the vital importance of his work and relationship to the ideas inherent in the whole study of our magic mind. The nature of the birth of a child will lay the foundations for the nature of the generations to come. The primary purpose of the superconscious level of your mind is to keep the human organism functioning harmoniously. To maintain this harmony within yourself, you must bear in mind all the things which have been emphasized before. Two things are of prime importance in the practice of that magic, that creative force, that greatest gift with which you are endowed. The first is the working hypotheses of principles concerning the wonderful powers of the superconscious. 1. The superconscious is continually amenable to control by the power of suggestion. 2. The superconscious is incapable of independent reasoning by the processes of induction. 3. The power of the superconscious to reason deductively from given premises to correct conclusions is practically perfect. 4. The superconscious is endowed with a perfect memory. The superconscious has absolute control of the functions and conditions of the body. 6. The superconscious has the power to communicate by means other than the recognized channels of the 5 senses. 7. The superconscious is capable of intuition and perception of the laws of nature. The second is a suggestive affirmation to be repeated often and believed in. I am perfect. I am strong, powerful. I am loving, harmonious, and I am happy. This sums up what you are trying to achieve. But any other affirmation that better suits or location may be also used. The purpose of the suggestive affirmation is to keep negative emotions from coming to the surface, the usurping reason and destroying peace of mind. It will induce a high level of creative thinking through functional harmony of the whole organism. It works like magic. Magic, said Carl Duprel, is nothing but unknown natural science. The eminent theosophist A.P. Sinnett said, "The powers with which occultism invests its adepts include, to begin with, a control over forces of nature, which ordinary science knows nothing about. Magic, wrote Jolibet Castelot, is by no means, as most outsiders imagine, the negation of science. Quite to the contrary, magic is science, but science with synthesis. Almost integral science, its horizons being the absolute, the infinite in unity. It is not, in truth, science which will explain magic to the people, but his magic which will progressively cause to be understood the doctrines of science, which today are still in their infancy. It is magic which will develop their true sense, the apparent mysteries of nature. The academic knowledge you have acquired concerning your own evolutionary nature should convince you of the need, the necessity of self-help. Once we are given the implements of self-improvement, heavens expect each one of us to develop inherent qualities that constitute our spiritual beingness. Let me, in simply the exercise of your creative faculties and of the superconscious level of your mind, to perfect yourself physically and intellectually. This can be accomplished by substituting positive feeling attitudes for negative ones and acting on the ideas generated in our transformed minds. You must feel and take a common interest in and with all people, regardless of race, creed, or color. Profit best by helping others to succeed. World peace and the solution of world problems could be quickly realized if all the peoples of the world would simultaneously visualize a state of international social harmony with health, happiness, and prosperity for all. The way can be found not only to enjoy health, wealth, and happiness for yourself, but also to lead all mankind in the direction of intellectual and spiritual growth and progression. You are continually creating and recreating yourself by passing on every conscious idea to your superconscious. Psychologists say that 90% or more of your mental activity is unconscious. Therefore, you must act upon your knowledge. And so doing, you can help recreate the world. We all can. This is what heavens have charged you with. You cannot, in fact, you dare not, escape thought. Proper creative thinking will make you free. It will make the world free. And it will make your life useful, purposeful, and rewarding. The rules for a new living. Let's talk about that. You must have faith in the fact that you have the power within yourself to do with your life what you will. And you must use this power. The longer you allow it to stand idle, the less you will be able to use it. It becomes a matter of use it or, as you know, lose it. The best way to use this power is to assume the most favorable mental attitude. 1. Tell your superconscious exactly what you want. 2. Desire it with all your heart. 3. Have complete confidence that you will attain it. And this brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you for watching. We will meet again here by the next episode. Until then, keep smiling and be really happy. Thank you.